All right.
All
So
right,
for
I hit the include my audio button.
okay, and we should be on there. So, are you watching? You said you were going to watch the Twitch from your end, right?
1 second.
Okay.
Laptop's on my lap. It's just
It'll take
I'm
a minute
bound
for
by
it to show
bandwidth.
up, but I'm just gonna let you do the check and make sure that you're coming through. And that way, I'll know it's getting recorded for the peoples.
Hmm.
I can't believe I had people showing
You're,
up while I was testing those settings in the middle of the afternoon, like you came on and talked to me. I already had people in my chat. This Twitch thing is
hey,
crazy.
listen, I showed up. See, here's the thing. I don't follow you on Twitch. Does that make you upset?
No. PP and I did that whole thing yesterday, and at the end he was like, "Man, I guess I'll follow you now."
But I don't need to because on Xbox, there's two statuses of friends. There's friends and then there's favorites.
Yep.
So if someone's on your favorites list, I'm coming through. I'm coming through.
Yeah, I'm hearing that echo. That's a good thing, though.
All right, so I just muted mine. So yeah, so you're on my favorites list. So whenever you come online, I get a notification. But also when you're broadcasting, I get a notification. So I don't need to follow you on Twitch. I just get a notification on my phone, whatever, because you're
I
on my favorites list.
I get the same because you are also on my favorites list. So that's very bromantic, but it's true.
There you go. That's why I don't follow you on Twitch.
Fair enough.
I don't need
You
to.
know, you don't have to join the hundreds and hundreds of Twitch followers.
Looks
So,
like 176 to me. Yeah.
there we go. Been doing it. Been hustling for my supper.
Tell you, man.
All right. So, does the title of the broadcast, does it say does it have your name on it for the people who want to know, or does it say what it usually says? Does it say
It looks like Haunted Flowers Dual Diaries to me. I can refresh though.
Man, I swear I fixed that.
Nope. I refreshed.
Oh well,
But really,
it'll
who
have to
cares?
do. It's fine. It's no big deal. It's
It's
one of those
consistent, man.
things. Yeah, that's right. It's consistent. People know what to expect from me. The same title for every broadcast, and then I go back and edit it for the past broadcast later. So, yeah, we've already got some people jumping in. It looks like I don't even get to do my introductions, but since we may just save this in highlights and people may watch this later, I'm going to go ahead and get an introduction in there. I am your usual host, CovertGoBlue. And here with me, we have a special guest for tonight's dueling, and just to talk about the game, and is Hakeem928. Definitely one of the more known guys out there making videos and organizing events around Magic Duels. So he's here, and this is kind of something new that we're trying. We're doing it was pitched as an interview, but really we're hanging out and we're talking about Magic. So get in the comments, and if there's something you want to ask him about, go ahead and do that. And we're just gonna kind of hang out, talk about this game that we love, and have some fun. So that's the story. So here's your introduction, Hakeem. Say hi to everybody.
Hello, hello. I mean, I think Kreider, he said it perfectly. This is an interview with the vampire. Shadows of over Innistrad is coming out. So, hello, everybody. I am the black red vampire that we didn't get.
Oh, there's a black red vampire we didn't get? I don't know. There's some good
I don't know
ones.
either.
We'll get into that. But yes, okay. Interview with the vampire Hakeem. And I also need to put up this disclaimer. So this is awesome, right? This is what happened. I interviewed, like, PP and I were just talking nonstop for like 6 hours about the new cards, and I posted it over to YouTube today. And Hakeem, you can probably appreciate this. The very first comment I got was pointing out a misplay that I made. So
I watched a lot of that broadcast, actually.
Let me put it on record. The game is going to be like my secondary focus by far. It's not going to be my primary focus over here. Do not replicate my play patterns based on what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to make good choices, as one might say. So, Mobius, if you want to like tear up my play, here's your opportunity, my friend. And all right, we've already got a question down there in the chat. We've only got a couple people in here, but I think it's one that you should tackle.
I can't see the chat room.
Okay, so here's what's up. I can read
refresh.
it.
Just give me a second.
Okay.
Let me refresh.
All right. And
all right,
over
so
here. I don't know if you'll see his question since he already posted it. It's
Nope.
are you going to build Thopters when Shadows over Innistrad comes out?
Oh my God, I'm telling you, I'm already thinking about playing Thopters in the next tournament because of Westvale Abbey. And 5 creatures shouldn't be that hard to get, and an 18-point life swing. I don't know, seems pretty sweet. But no, what I'm gonna do and what I plan to do for Hakumate 2.0 and going forward is try to explore the meta a little bit more instead of taking a stale meta and saying, how can I beat that meta? I'm gonna say, how can I influence the meta by creating a deck that's going to be, one of the top tier decks after the tournament.
Oh, yeah, so you've done it as a player. You've taken a pretty known deck and made it somewhere with it, right? And now you want to be known as a builder. Now you want to put something new on the map. Is that what I'm getting?
Well, I mean, it's not. It depends on where you are in terms of the metagame. I mean, like, I would like to build a deck. I mean, that's the thing that I enjoy most about Magic is building decks, more so than playing them. And in the last format, it was kind of stale, and that's kind of why I went with Thopter. So, if you watch that video where I did a video called Tournament Deck List Revealed, and I let you know why I picked the deck that I did. Whereas in this tournament, I'm not going to have that type of information because I have no fucking idea what I'm playing against. So now it's going to be all about building a deck and saying, here's why I'm building a deck, because I think these cards have synergy, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a competitive deck after the fact.
So that sounds sweet.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm really looking forward to, and I think the people are hoping that they're gonna see videos, about those decks, because you are one of the video guys. So, what are we gonna expect from the Hakeem channel in the near future after the update?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say that I'm just gonna get back on the horse, but the reality is I started my channel in January after Magic 2015 had come out, so I already had 6 months behind me, whole library of decks, and so I had like 4 months of content when I started my channel, and all of a sudden, I didn't play test anymore because I was too busy putting out content, and it's kind of the same thing right now. Like it's hard for me to play test and to put out content and still work my job and take care of my family type of thing. So I mean, I'm still going to maintain the channel. I'm going to do when we started Origins, I had a Brewing with Hakeem series, where I just put up brews, and I think I put about 3 videos a week or so, where I just put up, Demir was one of them, and Green White Aggro was another one. But I don't think you'll ever see from me the whole Friday Deck Tech, episode every day. I don't have the time for that anymore. But just brewing and just throwing up ideas. I mean, that's what I want to do. Just throw out ideas, and people can take them where they like.
Gotcha. That does sound really fun, though. I mean, it's going to be good, I think, just to have new ideas in the format, because it feels like it's been a long time since there were real new ideas going around. And I remember for Origins, you were one of the people I looked to as a viewer, as a kind of person who takes in the content for new ideas. So it'll be nice to have that again, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, and as a brewer, I mean, I kind of consider myself that, because I don't consider myself a great player. I don't even consider myself a great brewer or builder, but I always am trying to find new things and try them out. I mean, I discard 3/4 or 80, even more, probably 80 to 90% of what I build, and nobody ever hears about it. But when I find something that I like, we'll see what happens. But
Right on.
doubling the card pool is the key.
Yeah, so many new cards now to explore. We can't even pretend that we just already know what the format's going to be. We can get excited about a card here or a card there, but we don't know. That's for sure. That's the exciting part
Yeah,
to me.
and we also got a pseudo sixth color.
Yeah.
I've seen people trying to think. People seem to think that maybe they can add that to Converge, but they can't. Just for those people. It doesn't work. It doesn't work with Converge.
So, what are your thoughts on that sixth color? Do you have anything you're going to try first or anything up your sleeve?
I think that the sixth color is, even though it's not a color, I mean, you got to build your mana base for it. So if you really want to analyze it, if you want to use it, you have to build a 2-color deck with that in mind, and that's your 3-color deck. So I don't think any, like, I really want to build Bant Tempo with Eldrazi Displacer, but that's a 4-color deck. If you, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, for real. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't think the mana can stretch that far. So what I'm torn between is Reflector Mage and Bounty Crisis.
Yeah.
But then there's Displacer, and Displacer's in white.
It's going to be interesting.
So,
that was one of my first thoughts looking at it, was Simic Tempo is kind of, it's in a bit of a bind there, because obviously the Reflector Mage is now the tempo card. I mean, it screams tempo more than just about any card we've seen in a long time.
I mean, it looks so innocent on the face of it when you look at that card. But when you realize your opponent should spend 6 mana to play 1 card, and you just nullified that turn and his next turn. I mean, is that better than Time Walk, or is that? What is that?
It depends on the rest of your opponent's hand, but let me give you an example. Say that their hand is 3 Bounding Crisis, and you Reflector Mage one of them. You just shut off 3 cards for 2 turns. They've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
They're the saddest of pandas.
Yeah, it's just gross. It's disgusting. And Displacer, I mean, yeah, sure, you get value out of your ETBs, but the other card comes in tapped. You can just blink a blocker and say sorry.
Yes.
I'm getting in.
Yeah, Displacer on its own, but Displacer and Reflector Mage are a pain. Displacer Drowner of Hope, of course, is big game. That deck, that kind of blue-white thing. I think we're both in the same boat. I don't know if there's room in that deck for another, basically a 4th color, that Bant Tempo shell, right? So.
Yeah, exactly, and it really upsets me because Bounding Crisis is like my favorite card of all time.
The Hakeem avatar is Bounding Crisis. Yeah, we all know it. But the good news is there's now. I mean, even if you decide to not take the Reflector Mage route, if you stick to Simic, we've got some interesting options. There's a lot of new flash cards in that color combination.
Yeah, we got the 2/4. And we also got, there's a green creature that also a 3/3, I believe, for 3 mana with flash.
Yeah, there's a 4/3 that if you discard a land, you get another 2/2 with flash for 4 mana.
Yeah. My first, we also got a bunch of 2/1 flash flyers in blue, and we still have Thunderclap Wyvern. And I don't know if blue-white flash flyers with counter spells and Reflector Mage could be a deck.
I don't think it would be a bad deck. Not when you have Archangel Avacyn. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to make that card bad.
I think there's 5 2/1 flash flyers in blue. I think there's a rare and an uncommon.
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot of flash photography there.
And then you have in blue-white. Then you have Thunderclap Wyvern. And you have Reflector Mage, and of course you can throw in Dauntless River Marshal to tap shit down. Kythian's Irregulars is one of the most underrated cards that we've ever had in our pool. I mean, to me, Kythian's Irregulars is a bomb. If you have, you just have to have enough white mana, but it destroys your opponent. It really does.
It is one of those cards
So I
that you
don't
can't
know.
leave sitting around. Yeah. So Nighthawk asked a question, and he wants to know what cards are you disappointed that we didn't get? Is there anything on your radar that you wish we had?
Well, if I had looked at what I would say,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He went into the echo chamber.
I would say I need to turn on my controller
There you
more
go.
often, or at least flick the stick. Yes.
There
Are
you
we
go.
back?
Yep, we're back. We're
Yeah.
back. Gotta get that stick
I was
flick.
just gonna say, yeah, I gotta get used to the stick flick. I have no idea what cards we didn't get. None, because I don't follow Standard anymore. I don't go to Channel Fireball anymore. Wish I did, but I don't.
Yeah. I follow those things a lot, and you didn't ask me, Nighthawk, but I'll just go on record. I'm not really missing anything. I thought we got a lot more than I expected us to, as far as good cards. I feel like, and you can follow me on this, Hakeem. Tell me what you think, but I feel like these both Shadows and Oath are like more power. I think they're more powerful than Origins and Battle for Zendikar, especially Oath. I just feel like we got so many good cards. What are your thoughts looking at them? Do you see a lot of cards that you would call playable, based on where we're at in duels?
I mean, I only went through the cards starting last night and into today, and I saw a lot of junk. But I tell you what, the cards that I said whoa.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there are some powerful cards hidden in here, and because I mean, one of the things I'm most like excited about is that the pool has doubled. So a lot of the cards in our current pool that were unplayable before, or a lot of these cards that we're looking at, like, that's trash. There could be a home in some type of like tier 2.5 Johnny deck to make those cards, playable if you want to look at it like that. You know what I mean? I think that we can actually get beyond Spike now. No offense to you. I consider myself a Spike as well. But I think that we can actually, once the pool gets large enough, we can build some Johnny decks that are at least, I won't say competitive, obviously, because if they were, they'd be Spike decks, but, just fun. And where you're not going to lose to Gruul Ramp the whole time because there's going to be more tier 1 decks that you lose to.
Yes.
So you don't feel... And so you don't feel so bad about losing to the same deck over and over. You just lose to different decks over and over. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it feels different.
Yes.
It feels different when there's not one deck that just, and obviously Acid Moss is the card that's, epitomizes that. But if there's 4 top decks that all compete against each other, and you can lose to all 4 of those in a row and not feel bad. But if you lose to the same deck 4 times in a row, then you just want to hate the game.
Yeah, that's pretty natural. That's been true for as long as I've played, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there
So,
let's see, do you want to weigh in on Acid Moss? Do you think that any
I don't
card in
think
duels
card was-
deserves to be banned?
No, I don't. I don't think Perilous Mirror was a problem. I don't think, I think there are some changes that they made that were proactive and good, like replacing Elite Vanguard for the 2/1 ally, because it's essentially the same card, but at least it gives the bad allies, another bad card that they can trigger their rallying cohort with. So, I mean, there's those things, and I think Acid Moss is something that they had to do. I mean, it was on the Reddit page, all right, and this is what they've said that they want to do, is listen to the community, and they've done that. To me, that's a huge step forward. It's not about Acid Moss in a vacuum about whether or not this card is any good. It's about, hey guys, we've heard you. You don't like Acid Moss. We're just gonna take it out, and nobody loses. You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, this is definitely the first time ever that we've even that we've had this evidence that they actually pay attention at all, right? Because I mean, what have we always?
Exactly.
We've always said that they
Exactly.
don't listen, or that they don't care about duels, or that it's
Exactly.
magic light.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's exactly what it is. And I mean, like I said, and the ally change was sweet. I mean, how can anyone argue against that? It's the same stats, same cost, but it has the ally creature type. Perfect.
Absolutely. I don't know if I'll be playing many 2/1s for one, but that actually could be an important card if the mono white like humans deck matters. So you never say never in these situations.
Yeah, I'll never play it either, but the point of is that the card is better in our pool because, hey, that 2/1 can actually trigger something if you have a Colostri healer, and people are going to want to play that stuff. It just makes the pool better.
So how did you feel about, I mean, we've already kind of talked about Ramp, but now you launched the Hakumate, which I'm going to ask you to talk about more of in the quick future, but just the competitive state of duels in general. I'm going to muse for a minute, and I'm going to say, what are your thoughts? So it seemed like we had kind of this vacuum where we didn't get the cards and we didn't get the update and things weren't going our way, and it felt like duels was, still Magic's neglected little brother hiding in the corner. And then you come out with this tournament, and I mean, I don't know how it affected other people, but for me personally, I went out and bought an Xbox One. I mean, Microsoft owes you the money. They owe you a commission on my Xbox One. That's how much I wanted to play.
I won't be getting it though.
Anyway, that's how much I wanted to play in the event. And since then, it's like I can go grind gold, but it's just not the same as preparing for a competitive event. And having that in the game has made the game itself so much more enjoyable for me. And now we've had several of these tournaments. The Steam Showdown. They got one together that just concluded. That was a really entertaining event to watch, and the iOS event.
Congrats to Legend.
Yep, spoiler for anybody who hasn't watched, but you should have. Congrats to Legend.
Congrats to you on the iOS.
Thank you. iOS champion over here. What?
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, doing it. Cross-platform. Hashtag something. I don't know how the kids do it, but
not
anyway.
That modern, right? We're not that modern here.
No, we're a couple old men. but just tell me about, if you like, tell me about where the idea and kind of the inspiration for the first Hakumate came from, and what are your feelings about now with these tournaments that seem to be going on all the time. And I personally think it's amazing for the game, but I really want your side of it and how you feel just watching this going on.
Well, I mean, to me, it didn't start off as competition. I mean, I wanted competition in the sense that I wanted people to bring their best decks and show their best game. But ever since I started my YouTube channel, and Mobius is probably the biggest one for picking on me about this, you can get on a forum and you can say what you want and you can post what you want and you can tell everyone, hey, I've built this deck and I'm 23-0, and that's great, but show me.
Mm-hmm.
Show me your plays, talk through them, tell me what you're doing. And so it came to the point where I was like, man, it's all about the content, So what if we had a tournament where we just got to watch it like the NBA Finals? You know what I mean? Nobody sits down and says, oh, Steph Curry scored 35 points. That's not exciting. But when you see him nail 6 3-pointers from half court, all of a sudden those 35 points are exciting. They're super exciting. And I think we kind of captured that, and we had a whole bunch of people that were showing up to watch these games. And, I showed up to as many as I could. Obviously, I've got some commitments. But whenever I got in there, it was like you were doing your commentary. DJ was there. We had the whole crew there. The game was going on. Whenever someone made a mistake or made a good play, we'd all chat about it. It was like NGA Live. And it was tournament. It was just great. It was just such a good experience. And I never even planned it like that. I was like, yeah, I just want to watch other people tell me how great their deck is and watch them fail. But I mean, that's what it ended up to be. So it was a lot of fun. And,
absolutely.
To see other people kind of just, I don't want to say jump on the bandwagon, but I just did. But what I'm saying is to see other people say, hey, that was a great idea, and emulate it kind of makes me feel a little bit good. But at the same time, I've said this on the forums and I've said it before. This isn't my tournament. I put my name on it and I put the idea out there, and we had some people. But I mean, Mobius is a huge, huge factor. I mean, probably bigger than I am because he and I talk all the time. And obviously, there's yourself. You and I are doing this thing, and we communicate. So I mean, I've got a lot of people helping me out with the math and just getting people and getting the links together. So I mean, I'm just very lucky to be surrounded with a bunch of great friends and who enjoy the same passion as I do.
That I think is really a big part of it, because when you play this game, Xbox Live and Xbox Party is kind of changing it, but for me at least, most of the time I'm playing it by myself. It's 100% a solo experience, and it was interesting that the tournament kind of turned it into a community experience, like you said, when you got
Yeah,
people
yeah, I agree.
together, watching together. I had never had that type of feeling around Magic Duels. In fact, I've never had that feeling around Magic the Gathering. I've watched, I used to try to get people to come over to my house to watch Pro Tour finals because I always thought it would be such a good time. And the one time that I ever watched a Pro Tour final in a group was 1996 in Dallas when they had a room rented at the Pro Tour. I didn't make the finals, but they had a room rented that was just a big screen like theater. It was a black room with a theater, and you could watch the event live up there on a big screen, and that room was just packed with everybody reacting to what every play was. I've been looking for that feeling again since I was 16 years old, and that's the truth. Like, I've never had that feeling since then, but I felt it a bit doing this event and doing it live and having people like tuning in. So that
I
that
gotta
to
say,
me is amazing.
Twitch chat. Yeah, Twitch chat is a magical, wonderful thing where people from all across the world can get together, and it's so easy to stream, from your Xbox, and to get people to just pop into your chat and talk. It's really fun, and I don't think people realize until you've done it, and it's just a great community experience because on a forum, which is it's an outdated mode of communicating with people. We still use it, of course, because we're old men.
Yep.
But to get into the Twitch chat and have it live is great, and everyone can sit there in their underwear, scratching their nuts with a beer in hand, and nobody knows the difference. We're just all having fun together, you know?
Yeah, it's spectacular. So praise to
Yeah,
Twitch.
you like that one?
Yeah, I like scratching my nuts and
Yeah,
having a beer and still talking with you.
exactly. Exactly.
Honestly, it's gotten to the point where I can't be bothered to go to the card shop anymore. I just don't even go to Friday Night Magic. I really don't. I'd rather be here on Twitch with the folks who, for some reason, want to come out and hang out with me. Which,
Yeah, yeah.
anybody who's out there, anybody who's like into what I do, you guys have been really gracious to me since I started doing this channel. The only reason there's a Twitch channel is because there was a Hakeem Invitational, and the only reason there was a Hakeem Invitational is because of this guy Hakeem. So
I'm not gonna take the
it's all
credit.
this
I'm not gonna
dude.
take the credit.
It's all this dude over here. Otherwise, I would still be playing on iOS, and I'd probably have my blog, but that's about it. So what's in store for the next level of the Hakumite, the 2.0, I suppose? And first of all, like that's kind of what that's what Mobius called it. You like that Hakumite? You're fine with calling it the
I see.
Hakumite?
I like it because when he recorded that first video in round one, I believe it was, and it had Jean-Claude Van Damme with his arms out, and
I think I
excuse
know
me,
where
and
you're
so
going.
I've never seen this movie. I've never seen that picture before. I mean, I know who Van Damme is, and so unfortunately, I read a spoiler before I watched the video, and so I had an idea of what that meant. So I thought, because Mobius, I think that in the round one, that's when he made that big fuck up with Myers Mallet.
Yes. It was the epic fuck up,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. And so what I thought he did was use that thumbnail, just that look on Van Damme's face, like, oh no. I thought that was the epitome of the misplay. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
And it turns out that it wasn't that. But apparently, some kind of movie called Bloodsport has something to do with something. I don't know. I've never watched it. But anyways, Kumite or something like that. but my name's Hakeem online, and he just made it Hakumate, and that's just, that just shows how influential Mobius is. He can just say something and people will latch onto it because he's a funny guy, you know?
Yeah, yeah, he has a touch with words.
Oh,
For
he
sure.
does. He
No
does.
matter what
Yeah.
no matter what you want to say about the guy, he usually you usually come away from about one out of every three videos with a new magic vocabulary piece.
Oh, he's a clever dude, man. He's a clever dude.
I can't watch a damage effect anymore without the Mobius damage in my head. I do it all the time now. It's why I watch some sweet
Yeah.
damage effects.
Yeah.
So
It's awesome.
yeah, man. So the next, so that's the name. What's coming up? What's next for the Hakumate? We've got a new set. What are you doing with that?
I mean, so Moby, like I said, Mobius and I talked about this, and he and I are very close in terms of talking about Magic, and even in Hearthstone sometimes. But we really, both of us, despite what we want to say about Mobius, we're both community-minded fellows. We really are, and we really want to build up the hype. We want people talking about this game. Like, we love the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people love themselves. We love the game, and we just want the game to succeed. And if the game succeeds, then of course, since we're people who like it, then we have a space to succeed within that space. So, being community-minded as we are, we want to put in a good effort. We had this tournament. It was successful. It spawned some spin-offs that were perhaps as much or more successful. And we just want to get out in front and keep it being the premier tournament for Magic Duels. And so what we want to do is start the tournament, 9 days after it launches. And we want to have people who are going to brew the next meta on the spot and get it out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to solve the meta. We want to explore the meta, explore the new cards.
Yeah. That's so that's the reason then to have it so soon, because I know one of the maybe pushbacks that you might hear here and there is that it's really soon after the game launches. So will you kind of follow that train of why you would do it so soon to build that meta like you were saying?
I mean, there's going to be people who want to play the tournament day one after. There's going to be people who want to take a month and a half to test. Those are two different camps. So I mean, it's like saying, the person who likes 1 versus 1 and the person who likes 2 at a giant. They're just two different player bases. I mean, I'm the kind of guy, I like to brew a deck. As we were talking about earlier, I'd rather build a deck than play a deck, and this gives me a chance to find the best deck before it becomes the best deck, instead of just tweaking the best deck. And I think that's what starting a tournament 9 days after says. All right, so if we wait a month and a half, then we can just know what the best deck is and tweak it. But 9 days later, you got to come up with this on your own, or you better have a team of pros behind you. And in duels, I'm pretty sure you're not going to have a team of pros behind you. So it's all about brewing and trying to find that best deck instead of just tuning it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously with basically only a few days of the meta behind us, nothing really settled, we're kind of going live, right? We're going to be battling just right after that.
And people.
Uh-oh. Controller flick. We need a controller flick.
Oh, hello?
Nah, you're in the tin
back
box. Yep, you're back. You're over there in the tin box somewhere. We need you back.
So yeah, I mean, what I really want to do is, I don't know if we're going to have 16 or 24 people or what the number's going to be, but I want to see, if there's 16 people, as there were last time, I want to see 16 different unique decks that we can break down and dissect and talk about. Then they can go battle it out, and then after it's over, we take all those 16 decks and we fix them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. New brews.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I'm looking forward to.
So, you said 16 or 24. I already know the answer to this, so I'm not going to play journalist dumb and softball it, but potentially still looking for contributors or participants. Participants is the word. So, why don't you make a pitch to anybody out there who might be interested in joining the event and tell them what they need to do as far as, the requirements and where they can go to get involved.
What you need to do is you need to love brewing Magic decks. And you need to not be afraid to show your play online and then have other people critique you. That's it. If you want to play in this tournament and you got those credentials, head on over to NGA, hit my Hakumite 2.0 interest thread. I can't link it to you because I'm just on a party chat here. But I'm sure Google, if you Google Hakumite, you're not going to find much else, I doubt.
Mod Nighthawk, who's down there. If you have your keyboard handy, I'd appreciate you throwing a link in there. I also don't have a keyboard handy. So yeah, Nighthawk is my only moderator.
Do you want me to link? You want me to link the thread?
Oh yeah, you can link.
I can link the thread. I got my
You
laptop here.
Never mind.
I haven't been
Hakeem's
looking
on
at
it.
the Hakumite 2.0. I said I could Google it. We're
Oops.
looking for 2.0 here. Anyway, you keep talking.
Well, I
Let's do
just
this.
made an embarrassing play in the game I'm in, so that was special. Because there's the misclick while I'm doing this. One more time, don't emulate or try to replicate my amazing lines I'm taking while doing this interview. It's it's like playing Monopoly drunk. I don't know what property I'm gonna land on here. But yeah, so anybody interested in some Xbox One tournament duels, you do have to stream. That's a requirement for everybody, if I understand. That's still what we're doing?
It is. Now, I tell you what, if someone tries to stream, there's no face cam required, and there's no commentary required. All you have to do is put the video out there so that people can get in your chat, talk about it, and then I'll have a link so that people who don't get to watch it live can watch it. That's really what it's all about, right? It's about having a link to a video that the viewers can watch. So that's one thing. Now, people are talking about bandwidth, people in Australia apparently. I tell you what, just click the stream button. If your stream doesn't stream, well, I'm not going to kick you out. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Just be willing to stream is more of the requirement than actually being able. I mean, if you stream and people, it lags and stuff. I mean, I can't kick you out because you live in a place where the internet is bad. And that's not what I'm looking for, but it's just a willingness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely know what you mean there.
Yeah.
For me, I remember, and maybe this will be a story for anybody who's thinking about it. For me, the first time I got, I unwrapped the Xbox One and opened it up, and I was like, I'm not gonna do all that Twitch streaming stuff. I honestly, like, it intimidated me. I didn't want to be seen
But it's good
on
though,
camera.
isn't it, though, man?
Oh my gosh! Once you've done it a few times, it is so much fun.
Yeah.
And once you
It is
kind
a lot
of
of fun,
start
yeah.
chatting with people while you're playing,
Yep.
it really is pretty spectacular, and I'm so glad I got into it. So I would encourage others to try it out.
And there's nothing to do with Barney's into it now all of a sudden.
What? Barney's doing it? Oh, that's
Yes,
legit.
he's got some face cam. Check out his VODs. Because I said with the Hakumite, I said if you wanna repeat Barney, you better get into it. And he's like, eh. And so he and I got on an Xbox party, and I told him how to do it. It's not that he was against it. He thought it was gonna be hard. I was like, say, Xbox Snap Twitch, and then you click the broadcast button, and boom, you're live. All of a
Did
sudden
you have
he
to
was
hold
fine
his
with it.
hand while he did it? Did you have to speak gently
I
into
wish-
his ear?
I wish I could have.
Oh wow! I can't wait to hear. I wonder, is he doing commentary on those videos? I might have to just
He's face
hang
cam,
up
his
and...
commentary, yeah.
No way.
No, Barney, man, I tell you what, once he knew how to do it, he embraced it full bore, and I gotta say, congratulations to him. His daughter made an appearance, Emily, she's cute. So apparently he likes playing Metal Gear Solid, or she likes watching it. It's just good to learn those little things about people.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I would never have guessed that he'd ever do that. I just thought, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought he was an older man than us in that he would just say no to technology at this point in his life. Let's see.
All right. So next, are we gonna move into round 2 or what?
Move into round
Let's talk
2.
about some cards.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'll kick it over to
I
you.
got one for you.
What cards?
No,
Okay, go for it.
I got one for you,
Okay.
and then you go to me. So Westvale Abbey.
That's what you're throwing to me? Okay.
Yep. I'm
All
throwing you
right.
Westvale Abbey. What do you think?
Well,
for this
thanks for
duels?
I mean, not exactly a softball you got here. This card is something. So, for the people in the chat, I got you. We got Westvale Abbey is a land. It is rare, so you get 2 of them in your duels deck. You tap it for a colorless mana. For 5 generic mana and a tap, you may pay 1 life to put a 1/1 white and black human cleric creature token onto the battlefield. I mean, right there, you've kind of got a land that should be in a lot of decks. Okay, I go way back with cards like Keldrorn Outpost that made 1/1 creatures every turn, and there were a lot of decks that just abused that. So already we got some cool stuff going on. So for 5 mana and a tap, you sacrifice 5 creatures. Sacrifice 5 creatures.
Thopters.
They can be creature tokens. And you transform Westvale Abbey and then untap it. Now, for me, that means flipping the card over in paper, but for duels, there's probably going to be some cool transform effect. And it becomes Ormendal, Profane Prince, Legendary Creature Demon. Yeah, it turns into a creature. It turns into a creature that is a 9/7 creature. It turns into a flying, lifelink, indestructible haste 9/7 creature. So,
the haste and the lifelink. The haste and the lifelink.
if there's anybody out there who for a second has to wonder if this card is good, I will let me set your mind. Let me put your mind at ease. This is a good card. This is a really good card. Now, the real question right here that I keep going back to on this card is this. Does it go in every deck? Is it an auto-include in every deck now, right? So, I don't think so. I think there are some decks that do not want their mana base messed up because they're just too streamlined, and I've been playing with those. I've been playing with some of these decks that are really looking for a very specific road to take their mana. However, I do think that if your deck doesn't plan to win by turn 5, if it is not built as a perfect curve out deck that also, by the way, uses the Eldrazi because this makes diamond mana, then you're gonna want this. This card is probably going to be in more decks than any other card in this format. And that's really kind of where I'm going to go first. So what decks can effectively use this? Just about any deck that isn't trying to curve out perfectly without colorless mana. That's the answer. Random names in there with the comment on that. What decks can effectively use this? Thopters is an obvious home. Yeah. Red, white, and blue, white tokens. Yeah. Those can have it. Green X creature deck. Yeah. Let me tell you, I've got this card in my ramp deck. And that's for real. Sometimes you just have a whole bunch of From Beyond tokens, and sometimes you just need your land to do something because you're just drawing nothing but lands, and Ramp can afford the mana to make 1/1s every turn. Okay, so I'm already running this in my Ramp deck. It's like already down for that. And it's in my green Eldrazi Ramp deck. It's in all these decks. I've built like almost every different color Eldrazi deck that I've tried out. It's in all of those. There aren't many decks that don't want it, that can't afford it. But I don't think you build it into your mana base. Like, I don't think that you want this to be your 23rd and 24th land. I think you want it to be either your 25th or 26th land if you're not using the colorless mana, because you don't want to get stuck with colorless mana too much. it really is a cost. Like, it's a real cost in this format to miss your colored mana to get some effect like this that may not be as impactful in the game. But this card is going to get played probably more than any other card. And you're going to miss Acid Moss, you guys. I mean, you want to know why they cut Acid Moss? You thought it was... If you thought they cut Acid Moss for our sanity, you're wrong. They cut it for our future, so that they cut it so that Westvale Abbey could run this format and just end some games with a giant 9/7. So that's me. What have you got for me on this one?
Me, the reason I put it out there is because I think this card is borderline broken in duels.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I was talking to Mobius about it, and he said, and I think he's right. Duels plays a lot more bounce spells, instant speed bounce spells, than I think you will see. Like, Disperse is probably not playable in Standard, whereas decks and Duels will play it. And I mean, that's going to be a real big blowout to sack 5 creatures and not get your 18-point life swing. But I think overall, it's ridiculous.
Well, let me hold on. Let me hold you up there. Here's the thing though. It's also a really good player's card. You can have 5 creatures, but you don't have to sacrifice it. You still have 5 creatures.
It's a land. It's a fucking land.
Yeah, you can just keep attacking with your 5 1/1s and just keep making more. You don't have to pitch for it.
And that's what I said in the comments there. I said it's a fucking land.
You
have a 9/7 flying indestructible haste thing, but it's a land. If you never make it a 9, forget that side. Forget the flip side. It's a land.
Yeah,
and if you ever get the condition, anytime, and that's what I'm excited about as far as the game goes, is we're getting more and more lands now, and I think that's my favorite card type. We're getting more and more lands in the game, and the more spells you can stuff into your land slots, the stronger your deck's going to be.
Hakeem, do you remember playing Duels when our mana base was like 9 mountains, 11 plains?
Do you remember when we couldn't change it?
Oh my god, yeah.
I remember having to play in 2013. I know, in 2013 we had to play Chandra's burn deck with 25 lands. We had no choice. So, okay, well, let's keep talking about lands. Crumbling Vestige. I think this card is really good.
Yeah? Okay, talk to me about it. You go first.
I mean, so for cards that want diamond, for decks that want diamond mana, boom, it's in, but you don't have the tempo loss of a tapped land because you just get a mana. And you play a tap land, but you still get the mana from it. I mean, it seems really good.
And it takes care of your colorless requirements for future Eldrazi type
on the turns
shenanigans.
after. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For the decks that want diamond mana, you can play this, and the fact that it enters tap doesn't impact your ability to curve out at all.
So, I've been doing some testing with this card, and I think you're going to like this, Hakeem. I think you're going to like this. I've been playing it in Simic Tempo with Eldrazi.
Yes, I was thinking, don't you worry about that, because I'm already thinking about how this card can make Eldrazi Displacer possible in Bant Tempo.
In Bant Tempo, yes. That is a deck I have yet to play. But here's what I was going on that.
Crumbling Vestige is my 4th color. I can't really afford to splash diamond mana, but Vestige, lets me curve out and still have those diamond mana for Displacer. Can you imagine Displacer and Bounding Crassus together? Oh,
aren't they beautiful? They would have really ugly babies, fish lizard Drazi babies. But they would just get along so well. You're kind of rooting for them in a way, Yeah. You just want them to make it, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So Crumbling Vestige, though, we were saying before, the diamond mana, the Eldrazi mana, it doesn't go with Converge. But with Crumbling Vestige, it kind of does. So I don't have those lands to trigger the Skyrider Elf and things like that. But I do have Crumbling Vestige. So I'm still getting my 3/3 Skyrider and my 5/5 Woodland Wanderer when I play that card. And then later it casts Reality Smasher the next turn. I gotta tell you, man, you're gonna like that. You're gonna like that.
Yeah, Vestige is a great land. I think that's one of those cards people might sit on and think, no, Vestige is, to me, it's amazing.
I think you actually play this. I think it's a 1 or a 2 of in decks that don't even need the colorless mana. Just curve out, get your
No, I
colors
agree.
right on the
I
on
agree.
the on the curve.
Just curve out. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I mean, there's no reason you play it tapped, but it generates mana.
Okay. Yeah, man. That card is sweet. Any more on that, or do you want to hit another card?
I'm just looking at the lands here now. Hissing, Quagmire. Okay, we got a cycle of these. Quagmire becomes a Death Touch dude, which is pretty cool. Needle Spires becomes a Double Strike dude, which is pretty cool. Wandering Fumarole. Expensive, but this one is nice. Yeah, I remember liking this one. Yeah, so it's expensive to activate. It becomes a 1/4, but then you can switch it to a 4/1. I don't know. I kind of like that. It's pretty versatile.
It's a
much
tricky
better than
little
the gate.
card. I hope
Yeah,
it doesn't lead to
there's a lot
people
of play
just
to it.
locking the game up by flipping it over and over and freezing the game so that you can't go do anything. I don't know. I have a weird fear that somebody's going to troll me that way and just have a turn where they infinite flip it until I concede.
There's a lot of play to that card.
There is. And obviously though, I think the obvious home is your Thopter's deck, right? Because they board wipe you and you just smash their face for 4, right? Free Firecraft.
I mean, in terms of wedge decks versus shard decks, wedge decks don't have as good of mana right now, and they kind of have to play gates. So I think that Fumarole is just any deck that plays red blue wedge mana is going to play this card instead of gate, or whatever the fuck it. We don't have gates anymore, but the new replacements.
You can call them gates. It's okay.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that change was pretty strange.
But why would you play a gate over this?
Nope, you wouldn't. And now there's so many manlands. I will say that I keep on seeing these deck lists online of 4-color, 8 manland decks. That's a lot of tapped lands. One of the big kind of pitfalls in this format, in my opinion, is too many tapped lands. So y'all might want to rethink that before you take it out in the wild. Just saying.
And so finishing off on the lands, again, my favorite card type. Ruins of Oran Reef. I think this card has a home. And I think it's in the red-black Eldrazi aggro, sludge crawler type stuff. There's a lot of cards. It's a free +1/+1 effect every single turn.
So that's your take, is the red Devoid deck?
That's based on what I've seen so far, yeah.
Okay, right on. I will go in there and say this goes in plenty of decks. There is...
Oh, no, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great card. This is a card that people, I think, that it's easily underestimated, but it's a free +1/+1, and the first thing that comes to mind for me is red-black Eldrazi.
Now,
Devoid.
this is the new thing, though. I think this is a part that maybe some people haven't completely gotten their head around, that I've already discovered is... It's the truth, so to say. Is there, we say that there's a 6th color, right? There is. But that means there's a whole different range of deck possibilities now. There is a, because, what I'm brewing on and what I'm working on is trying to figure out the right home for the Eldrazi, because there's white Eldrazi. That's a 2-color deck. There's white-blue Eldrazi. That's a 3-color deck. There's black Eldrazi. There's red Eldrazi. Just about every color has cards that can fit into this shell. And when those shells start with a
Thopter
card
tokens.
like this, there you go, Thopter tokens. When you start with a shell like this and you're just putting an extra +1/+1 counter on these already amazing creatures, it makes a big difference in duels, like how much a free +1/+1 counter can do. And I don't think everybody's quite gotten their head about the deck building possibilities out there with the Eldrazi, because they are among the most powerful critters in the format now, these Diamond Eldrazi, which might be a natural place to go if you're interested. But this is your interview, so you are welcome to drive the boat to whatever card you want to be on next.
Well, kind of where I'm starting is, we've got a lot of new power coming in, but one thing that's new to duels is being able to build power into your mana base. And that's something that we've never had before. we've never had something like Westvale Abbey before. We've never had something like Ruins of Oran Reef before, and a lot of players like don't know how to take that. And normally land is just something you play at the beginning of your turn because that's what you do. And Ruins of Oran Reef is just amazing. It's a free +1/+1 effect every single turn until your opponent deals with it. It's just, I don't know. This type of thing is going to make Warbreak. I'm going to start my deck building with what's the most powerful mana base I can build for the deck that I want to play.
Yeah,
Because you can
yeah.
build extra power. Because if you can sneak spell effects onto your lands, then you're just beating your opponent. Because you've each got, we'll just use the generic 36 cards. But if you've got lands that can do things other than produce mana, they can produce mana if you want them to, which is what they're there for. But when you don't have anything to spend that mana on, you can use these lands to do other things. I mean, you're just gonna beat your opponent because you just have more options. And I just really like it. I really like the man lands. I really like, Ruins of Oran Reef. I like Westvale Abbey. I like that we have this extra layer now, that Duels was lacking before.
For those of you out there who don't like flooding, hands up if you don't like flooding on mana. This
Exactly.
is a way to flood on mana without losing the game for it, because
Exactly.
whether you call them mana sinks or whatever you want to call them, it's flood isn't there. So I really think lands, but I think on the